Hi, I'm really enjoying chatting with you about all things year-round homeschooling. I hope that you're finding this to be a beneficial course. So, now we're to the point where, okay, so I know the benefits, I know what it looks like, I've heard about some schedule options, I know who it's best for, but how do I get started? So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, is we're going to cover how you get started with year-round homeschooling. And really, it's 5 simple, easy steps. So it isn't hard, it isn't complicated. So let's get started, and I'll tell you how you can get started with year-round homeschooling. So the first thing you need to do is you really need to sit down and talk to your family, talk to your husband, talk to your kids, and discuss with them why you believe you guys should at least try homeschooling year-round, and explain to them that it is absolutely not 365 days of homeschooling. That's the most important thing you need to tell them, because that is often what people think when you say you homeschool year round. So assure your children, assure your husband that you have not lost your marbles and that you are not going to have your kids sitting at a desk or a kitchen table 365 days a year. That's the first thing. Easy, right? So the second thing is you need to figure out what schedule you want to follow for homeschooling year-round. I mentioned previously that when we first became year-round homeschoolers, when my husband was a self-employed fisherman, we actually followed a quarterly schedule. So we homeschooled September through November. We took the entire month of December off. Then we homeschooled January through March, took the entire month of April off, and then we homeschooled May through July, and we took the entire month of August off. This allowed us to take off December, which is lost a lot of times because of all the Christmas time activities and the New Year's activities as well. Then April is spring here in Maine, so we like to get out and do things in the springtime. And then August is off because I love summer and I wanted to be able to enjoy summer, but it also was the perfect time to take a break from the books and the courses we were using so that I could prepare for the next homeschool year. So that was our very first year-round homeschooling schedule, and I had never seen anything like it before. I designed it myself based on what I wanted my family to benefit from and my husband's work schedule as well. However, we do not follow that schedule anymore because we now run rental cottages here in Maine, and those months aren't months we need to take off. We don't actually have a formal homeschooling schedule anymore. So those of you that are like, oh my word, I don't have any idea, that's okay. We typically take off the month of February because it is one of our busiest rental months. So that is one of our big vacation months. And then every year seems to be different aside from that. This last year, we took the entire month of November off because we went on a road trip to visit family from Maine all the way to the West Coast, and we were gone for the entire month. So you don't have to have a set schedule if you don't know what it looks like, but it's best to have some sort of an idea, especially when you're just getting started with year-round homeschooling. So a couple of other options that I know that other year-round homeschoolers follow is they do a 6-week on and 1 week off. A lot of times it's referred to as Sabbath schooling, and that is so it's a 7-week period, so 6 weeks on, 1 week off. Then another homeschooling family I know, they do 3 weeks on and 1 week off, so every month you have an entire week break, and a lot of times homeschool moms use that to prepare their next 3 weeks of homeschooling materials, to grade their homeschooling materials from that month, to go on field trips that week maybe. So that's another option. Really, when you homeschool year-round, you don't have to have an in-depth schedule to follow. You just need to know what time of year you want to take your big breaks, whether it be the holiday season like we used to, or a month in the summer season. Those are your big things. Look at your spouse's work schedule. Look at your lifestyle, what you tend to do as a family, different times of the year, and consider those things when you start determining a homeschooling schedule for year-round. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to add up your school days to ensure that you meet any state requirements, because a lot of states have minimum homeschooling days. The typical minimum is 180. I have seen 185 as well, but though that is something you need to do once you have some sort of a schedule, is make sure that you have plenty of days planned to meet that minimum, and make sure you add some extra. Probably, I would say 10 to 14. That gives you, a week and a half to 2 weeks of extra homeschool days, because you're going to want to take some breaks. You're going to have days where kids need a break. You're going to have sick days or doctor's appointments or something where you're going to need to have a little bit of flexibility. So don't make it so where you only have 180 days if that's all required. Make sure you put some play in there. And then you get to start planning. And how you plan your year-round homeschooling is based on your specific balance that you need. When I first began, I actually planned an entire year out. Now, it wasn't all detailed, but it was, okay, this month but my kids were little at this point too. It was, this month we're going to cover this subject, and this month we're going to do this unit study. I don't plan a year in advance anymore. I have high schoolers. It would not work for me. A lot of times monthly planning works really well, so you can look at a month's worth of lessons or a unit study a month if you guys like following unit studies. That's a great way. Personally, for me, when I start doing, now that I'm in high school, we do a lot of details, and I only plan on a weekly basis. And I don't plan as detailed as I used to, because I have high schoolers. They're a lot more independent, and I require a lot more of them, and they know what they have to cover in a week's time, and they're responsible for completing it. So it's really easy. Talk to your family, number one. Number two, figure out what kind of schedule you're going to follow. Number three, make sure you remember to pencil in your vacations and holidays that you plan to take. Number four, make sure you have enough school days lined up for your year-round homeschooling schedule. Give yourself 10 to 14 extra days just to play with, give you a little bit more flexibility. And number five, start planning. So that's it. 5 simple steps to getting started with year-round homeschooling. I hope that makes it as simple as possible, gives you the inspiration to get started, and I will see you on the next class.